Hello, I'm Jonasz Rewiński and this is Military Mind. Armed conflicts, defense and security, land, sea and air. We've got you covered. Nearly half of Ukraine came under attack overnight, as Russia launched a massive strike using around 650 drones and more than 30 missiles. Authorities report widespread destruction of energy infrastructure across the country. According to President Volodymyr Zelensky, at least 13 regions were affected. In the Kiev region, a Russian drone strike killed one civilian and wounded 5 others. One person was also killed in the Khmelnytsky region. In the Zhytomyr region, a child was killed after a Russian drone hit a residential building and 6 more people were wounded. In the Sumy region, a Russian drone destroyed a critical infrastructure facility, leaving a large part of the city without electricity and heating. Later in the morning, Russian forces struck critical energy infrastructure in the Lviv region. Authorities say that at least 3 western regions are now completely without power. Because of the scale of the attack, Poland scrambled fighter jets during the night of December the 22nd to 23rd. Polish armed forces said air defense systems and radar units were put on high alert in response to the Russian strikes near the border. Meanwhile, inside Russia, Ukrainian drones reportedly attacked Budyanovsk in Russia's Stavropol region. Telegram channels say the strike hit a petrochemical plant producing polyethylene and polypropylene, causing fires in the industrial zone. Moving now to the front line. Near Kupiansk, Russian assault troops managed to reach the Oskil River by moving through a disabled gas pipeline. Ukrainian analysts from Deep State released footage of FPV drone strikes and aerial drops targeting these forces, stating the operation resulted in around 40 Russian soldiers being eliminated. Now, Ukrainian military analysts report that Russian forces are finishing preparations for an offensive on Liman. According to the assessment presented, Russian troops are trying to cut all supply routes between Liman and Izium, moving into positions for a large-scale assault from the south and southwest. At the same time, Russian units continue to hold the southeastern outskirts of Liman in an attempt to infiltrate deeper into the city. Now, Deep State also reports that Russian forces have almost completely taken control of Sieviersk and have secured positions northwest of the city. Analysts warn that if Ukrainian forces fail to block entry routes, Russian troops may consolidate control through small infantry groups. Russian forces are pushing westward, aiming to support operations near Liman and eventually advance towards the city of Sloviansk. Ukrainian officials say intense fighting continues, with Russian troops focused on capturing Serebryanka and Dronivka, which could be used as launch pads for further offensives. Now we're opening today's episode with a video showing a rare collection of combat encounters demonstrating the actual intensity of the enemy's use of fiber optic controlled FPV drones, and at the same time, the effectiveness of their destruction by the Ukrainians. Footage from different sections of the front line, shot at different times but with the same result: destroyed, burned and immobilized enemy drones. On certain sections of the road, several destroyed FPVs are captured on camera at once, a silent testimony to the extent to which the Russian army is trying to block logistical routes and hunt Ukrainians down at every opportunity. Fiber optic FPVs are one of Russia's most dangerous tools. They are almost immune to electronic warfare, operate in a stable way at low altitudes, and are capable of waiting for their targets for hours. That is why the enemy saturates supply routes, approaches to positions, and frontline settlements with these drones, regardless of the resulting equipment losses. Pakrovsk area, the Ukrainian military proved once again that it is not only expensive technology that decides the outcome of the war, but also ingenuity. Operators of the 46th Separate Airborne Podil Brigade of the Airborne Forces used a simple but effective solution: FPV drones with an improvised interceptor, namely a stick with a rope loop. Now, in the air, this contraption turns into a trap capable of taking down enemy reconnaissance drones without explosions or unnecessary costs. The published footage shows 6 Russian Mavics taken out one after another. No missiles or complex systems involved, just precise maneuvering, cold calculation, and control of the situation in the air. Where the enemy relies on mass and resources, Ukrainian paratroopers respond with engineering innovation. And it may look like a fishing rod, but you have to admit, it is quite effective at what it does. Now, moving on. South of the Liman axis in Ukraine, Ukrainian drone operators worked in conditions of minimal visibility. Fog and smoke reduced visibility to almost zero, in fact, but this did not hinder the operators of the 60th Mechanized Battalion of Fatum drones. This is a reference to fate, by the way, and as we shall see, the fate of the Russians there was being decided in a way that they probably did not really like. Now, the Ukrainians recorded the movement of enemy vehicles from the air. The enemy's logistics tried to move blindly, relying on the weather. Now, FPV drones hit their targets accurately and with calculated precision. 5 Russian vehicles were destroyed or disabled as a result. Another instance of improvisation by the Russian military-industrial complex has been spotted on the front line, namely tanks additionally covered with shipping containers. I'm not even joking. This was first reported by Clash, and as you will be able to see in a few seconds, this is something else altogether. Following the so-called barbecue tanks, the enemy moved on to an even cruder form of protection. Massive metal sections of shipping containers welded over the turret and the hull. The goal is quite obvious, an attempt to reduce vulnerability to FPV drones and shaped charge munitions. However, such modernization sharply increases the weight of the machine, impairs maneuverability, visibility, and the operation of weapons, turning the tank into a slow, ponderous, and conspicuous target. Also, one has to assume videos from the inevitable destruction of those tanks could be called unboxing videos. And with this, we conclude this edition of Military Mind. Please stay with us here on TVP World for more latest news and updates.